Good evening. Today we're going to be doing a Kettama 2.0. The boy is just releasing some absolutely outrageous tunes at the moment, so I couldn't help myself. Let's get into it. Alright, let's run it from the top. Alright, let's run through it. So we are at 145 beats per minute, A sharp minor, and last time I did a Kettama tune, the thing that made the chords have that sort of Kettama vibe, that really dark, sort of nostalgic feel to it, was adding sevenths to most of the notes. So I would use chords that were like the 1, 3, the 5, the sort of normal chords, but added the sevenths. This time I've done it a little bit differently. I used chords that were slightly more unusual, but we have them as normal triads. So it's literally just stacked as the 1, the 3rd, and the 4. All of these, but the 3rd is at the top. So we start off on the F sharp major, which is the 6th of the scale. And then we go to the G sharp major, which is the 7th of the scale. And then we go down to the F minor, which is the 5th of the scale. So we go from the 6th to the 7th to the 5th. That's what helps give that very Kettama kind of vibe to the chords. So that's in the drop, but in our intro, we're just going from the F sharp to the G sharp and then back down to the F sharp and then back up to the G sharp. So we're just hanging on those two notes for this whole verse, and then into the build, we're doing the same. And then in the drop, we just change that 3rd chord to the F and then go back up to the F sharp. So I tried a few different ways of doing these chords, and Kettama has a really distinct sound when he uses his chords. I tried quite a few saw waves, like in Nexus, and they didn't quite sound as distinct as his do. So I used this Juno plugin, so it's Juno 60, and it's a Superstab preset, and I just played with the envelopes a little bit and the cutoff. So the cutoff in the first part of the track is down here, and then when the drop comes in, the cutoff comes right up. And I've got this weird little vocal chop. It almost sounds like a guitar a little bit. I heard this melody in my head, and if I'm honest, I couldn't be bothered to put it into a synth and make it sound organic and automate it loads. So I just recorded myself singing it. So this was it before I did anything to it. So I just wanted that rhythm and those notes. So I just recorded that in by changing my input device to MacBook microphone. And then on the one here, if you just press record and sing along, and you can literally record yourself. And then I pitched it up by 12 semitones. Put an auto tune on there. So we know we're definitely hitting those notes, because it's very unlikely that I can hit that with my own mouth. And then I put a distortion on there. So it's indistinguishable from the original sample. You can do this so easily. Stuff like pitching it and distorting it especially will really just take it away from sounding like a vocal. So even if you can't sing, you can just do something like that. And then for this build, we just have a very basic Reese, which is just following the root notes of these chords. And then we have this piano that just plays a little bit of a melody. It's sort of not really meant to be right up in your face. It's just adding a little bit of ambience to the build. And then as this build goes on, we are opening the cutoff of our Juno. So we just let some of the highs in as it builds. So we just have a little bit of a build on the kick. And these are filtered, so in the bit before the drop, we take out some of the frequencies from the kick, and then when it hits on the drop, then we let it all back in, so it fills out the space much more. Kettama sometimes has a little vocal shout just before his drops, so we've done the same here. So as we come into the drop, we've just got our kick. Pretty hard stompy kick, and then we have our clap, and our hats. And then a ghost hat, just provides that swing. And then we have a ghost percussion. And then we have a top loop. And then we have one more. And then with our bass, we have a pretty simple patch. So it's just a saw wave and a square wave. And then we have a little bit distortion, a little bit compression, and a little bit of EQ. So the rhythm of this bass is contributing a lot to the groove of this whole drop. And you notice on some of these notes here, I'm slightly pushing them back behind the grid. So if they were on grid, that would be there. This one was on grid, it would be there. But we've just pulled them back a little bit. Same with this one, same with this one, same with this one, and same with this one. So we're just creating a little bit of groove so it's not totally on the grid. And then on top of that, we have our chords playing. So to make it a little bit more interesting, I've had these push chords here. So these ones, and then these two. So we don't just have all of our stabs on the one, on the downbeat. We just make it a little bit more interesting by putting these little bridge notes in there. And then just to keep the energy going a little bit, I've got this synth that's doing just a bit of a rhythm. You can barely hear it in the track really, but it's just to help fill it out a little bit. And we've done a similar thing with this vocal here. So I've just taken a little chop out of that original a cappella and we've just looped it. And we put some reverb, some EQ, auto pan, and we're sidechaining it to the kick. And we've also got this kilohertz trance gate on there as well, which is giving it that rhythm. So it's literally just there to fill out the space in that drop. So if we didn't have those two fillers, this is what it would sound like. And with. Barely noticeable, but it fills it out nicely. And there we have it, Kettama for the second time. There's very few people who are as illustrious as to have a second time Hall of Fame on this channel. So, congratulations, Kettama. You have made it. And hopefully this helps you guys make this as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I do hope it's helped. Please do subscribe. Love to your mother.